in Connecticut here with WWE Hall of Famer and advisor and executive board member for Shoot Pro Wrestling, the one and only Jerry Briscoe. Jerry, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm finally getting my property back in shape from these two hurricanes that went sideswiped me going up the coast here of West Florida here. But we're okay, man. We're blessed. We didn't have any structural damage of the home or anything like that. Like the unfortunate people did a little bit closer to the coast and down South Tampa. But we had a
Oh
lot,
yeah.
a lot of, a lot of property damage. So I feel blessed for that. And I feel blessed. I had a lot of good friends that stepped forward and came out and brought their chainsaws and stuff like that and kind of helped the old man out. So everything's good.
Yeah, man. I'm down here in the Sunshine State too, and my neighbor back over here is running their chainsaw as we speak. I can hear it in the background. So yeah, man. But what we want to talk about is Shoot Pro Wrestling, the Riggins versus Auk show that we did out in North Dakota, and just let the fans know, man, this has been condensed into a 30-minute television show that we're going to be airing out in Las Vegas. And it's also going to be available on different combat sports platforms like the Hannibal TV. And this match rather, took place at an event at the Sky Dancer Casino in North Dakota. And we have to give a special shout out, Jerry, to our president of Shoot Pro, UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich, who put this together for us on the Define the Fight card out there, which was an MMA card. And it was a catch rules, Shoot Pro, pin and submission cage match, best of three between undefeated North Dakota MMA fighter Blade Auk and a young man that I recruited for my alma mater, Norwalk Wrestling, also a two-time All-American by the name of Brandon Riggins. Man, it was spectacular, Jerry, as you know, and we're really excited to get the fans to watch this product. This is awesome, man. And so just want to
Yeah, what I heard, man. I mean, I wasn't there obviously, and I had no access, but I've had access to social media. And when you get social media talking about your product, you're doing the right thing and talking about it in a positive way and a wishful way that it grows and all that stuff. So Pat is a genius when it comes to putting cards together up there and promoting events there. He did a tremendous job. You're there with the casino help and all that stuff, which always helps and everything. So first of all, let's congratulate you, Pro Wrestling, Pat Miletich, and everybody involved in did all that hard work up there. I think it's wonderful. And I think everybody sees a tremendous amount of growth in it. As soon as they get a little educated in the event there. That's all it's going to take.
Yeah, and that's really what we did with this 30-minute TV show, was to educate the fans. We had a great pre-show that Jake Shannon and I did with Pat Miletich, and great behind the scenes of these guys training and giving people a little history lesson on what Shoot Pro Wrestling is. And it's really exciting, and we got some great momentum going here, Jerry. And we really want to thank you for being an advisor with us for this promotion, man. We're really excited about where we're headed here with this TV show in Las Vegas coming up.
Well, cool. I mean, you're in Vegas. You're in the show capital of the world. What a better place to display your product, and that's the home of MMA. You never know. You get somebody's attention, and man, this thing could sprout up, like a beanstalk and be tremendous.
Yeah, we're actually planning a party that we want to have you at in Vegas after the Super Bowl, because we're going to be airing on TV out there after the Super Bowl. and we're going to have a party that UFC Hall of Famer, our president, Shoot Pro Pat Miletich, is going to host. And we've even got some of the current UFC competitors coming out to check out this party. Yeah, so it's going to be really cool, and it'll be like a viewing party for our television show. So, man, Jerry, I want to thank you, and I've really enjoyed being a guest on your show with JBL. A great show. Jake and I were on there last year, and I just saw you had Jake Hager on. What a great show that was. Known as Jack Swagger.
Yeah, Jay. Matter of fact, I was with Jake last night, and there's Jake. Jake is, he's going through some changes in his life. He's getting up there. It's time to step out of the ring. Time. Jake's an educated guy, and he loves wrestling. So he asked me to hook him up with the local high school wrestling coach, a place where I was a volunteer for like 13 years, and he lives right behind. Of course, Jake has two children, 13 and 9 years old, that that's interested in wrestling. So I arranged a meeting last night with Jake. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jake Hager starts showing up on the amateur wrestling scene here in Hillsborough County and statewide, as a volunteer coach in the beginning, and eventually taking over a program that had state champions and been in the top 5 in the state and several state tournaments. So it's a great opportunity for Jake, and an even bigger opportunity for the school system and for the young men and women that are involved in that sickle. You've been to our school. That's the school that you came to with the Gerald Briscoe Challenge tournament there. So
Sickles High School, right? Sickles
High School. I think the 10th or the 11th Gerald Briscoe Challenge is coming up in January. I think it's January 20th again, something like that, late January, at Sickles High School in Central Park, Florida, right outside of Tampa. Another year there. It's a wonderful tournament. We had a packed house, as you remember, last year, and just a tremendous turnout. The kids all enjoyed it, and WWE, of course, supplied the outstanding wrestler. This year, we kind of changed the format because I get tired of politics, and even in high school wrestling, when you do an outstanding wrestler, and then coaches are voting for it. All the politicking going on. So how can we change it? Because these belts are such an important part of that tournament where we still use the belt. So we decided to take the politics 100% out and just give these championship belts to the man and a boy and girl that have the most falls in the least amount of time. That way, it's entirely up to the wrestler. So we're still giving out the championship, WWE championship belts. We're just giving them out in a different manner there. So you got to earn them. You can't, no politics involved this year.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I really enjoyed being out there for the Jerry Briscoe Challenge at Sickles High with you last year, and I'll be back out there again this year.
Plus, you picked up a sweet sweatshirt that gets you recognized in every grocery store you go into in Florida, right?
That's right. That's right. When I wear that Jerry Briscoe Challenge shirt around here in my area of Florida, and I've had a number of folks that have come up to me, and it's a conversation starter. They start talking about you and your brother, and I've even ran into some folks from the amateur wrestling community who see it, and we talk about the history of amateur wrestling here in the state of Florida and how it was influenced by you and your brother and Bob Roop and Eddie Graham. Man,
that's what we're really proud of, Matt. I mean, Eddie Graham was such an influence, and my brother and I helped build our image out here. And the reason why, Mike Graham was just coming up, and Mike and a lot of his buddies wanted to get in amateur wrestling. So amateur wrestling wasn't even a state sport when we came here. So Eddie put together Helmut Don Curtis, Coach John Heath over at Sarasota, put together a little cartel and started financing amateur state tournaments in the beginning. That's how amateur wrestling in the state of Florida started. And so, of course, Jack and I and Roop, anybody that had any college experience, Eddie booked us out every high school in the state, putting on seminars and stuff like that. And I still have kids coming up to me today and said, My granddad said you and your brother taught him how to wrestle in high school, and he really appreciates it. So it's about the third generation now since we did that. But yeah, without Eddie Graham, the state wrestling tournament would not have existed as it did in the early 70s.
Yeah, and having coached wrestling in South Carolina for years at the high school level, and then coming down here to Florida, Florida was always way ahead in the southeast of other states in the sport of wrestling, and that's due to you and your history with Eddie Graham and your brother. Man, just really amazing stuff. And you talked about Jack Swagger, and I just want to say I had the privilege and pleasure of hanging out with Jake at the River City WrestleCon that they have up in St. Augustine, Florida, some months back, and talking to him about Shoot Pro Wrestling. And Jake was really excited to learn more about Shoot Pro as well. And this new show, this new TV show, which I want to mention again, is going to be out on other platforms like the Hannibal TV, is going to be the way that we really introduce Shoot Pro Wrestling to the fans. There have been other shows in the past. There have been shows in Colorado, even tag teams, but it's never been
Matt,
done
Matt,
like
Matt,
this.
Matt, Matt, Matt. The name Shoot Pro Wrestling. It's a little confusing to the fans out there, and hopefully we're going to have a pretty good sized audience being you on the show here today. Why don't you give us a little bit more clearer explanation exactly what Shoot Pro Wrestling means or what the product is and what the people expect to see when they walk through the door?
Absolutely. And, the name shoot is sort of an inside term in combat sports, but it means it's real. It's not a work, it's a shoot. So the way that the Shoot Pro Wrestling format works, Jake Shannon went back to an old rule set he had gotten from Carl Gotch, and essentially it's a best of three falls, and you can win by 3-second pinfall or submission. And the athletes that we're bringing in to Shoot Pro Wrestling to compete are coming from the MMA cage and from the pro wrestling, not from the pro wrestling, but from the amateur wrestling mat. Now, we are looking at bringing some pro wrestlers in as well, but it is 100% shoot under that rule set. And the interesting thing that fans will see when they watch this show, the Riggins versus Alt show, is how that rule set makes for such an exciting and dynamic competition. This was one hell of a match between Brandon Riggins, and Blade Hawk out there at the Skydancer Casino. And when it got down to the match itself, man, people watch grappling. A lot of the fans know the submission grappling, the no-gi jiu-jitsu, where the guys can stall and lay on their back. They can't do that in Shoot Pro Wrestling. It's constant motion, and it's the real winners are going to be the fans when they see this product, Jerry.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That's the winners that you want, and as long as you shoot that product out there and people understand and give them time to educate yourself on the difference in pro wrestling and the shooting style of wrestling is important.
Definitely. And Jerry, this is going to be one of many TV shows to come. We're planning another one out of Virginia, up in the DC area. Jake's got CatchCon coming up, and there's going to be a show taped there. So this television show that we are going to be airing in Vegas, we're hoping to syndicate it too on a larger stage. But again, you don't have to be living in Las Vegas to see this, because we're going to have it on Canada's top combat sports podcast, the Hannibal TV, and on other channels for folks to see this 30-minute show, the Higgins Alt Shoot Pro Wrestling.
Where is the event going to originate from in Vegas?
Well,
Okay.
well, the show itself was shot at the Skydancer Resort and Casino in
Okay. All right.
Belport,
All
North
right.
Dakota. Yeah, it was actually on an MMA
Oh, so
card.
you're not you're not having a live event in Vegas then or what?
What we're doing is we're airing the television show in the
Okay.
Vegas market. There's a gentleman named
Okay.
Davey Iacovetti. He produces a television show that I host that's on TV in South Florida. And he's got the television station out there. I believe it's an affiliate of the CW network. They also have some sporting stuff and some other television shows that folks are familiar with. So it's airing on that network in Las Vegas as a 30-minute television show, but
Okay.
the
Awesome.
match itself emanates from the Skydancer Resort and Casino, the show that Mariah Pusha put on called Define the Fight. I had the pleasure of being out there at that event and calling the action with Jake. We had UFC Hall of Famer and Shoot Pro president Pat Miletich as a special guest referee, and he hosted the weigh-ins. And that's all incorporated into this 30-minute television show that's going to be airing in the Las Vegas market and also available to fans online.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for that. It's going to be a wonderful event there. So
Awesome, man. Well, Jerry, I really want to thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again at the Jerry Briscoe Challenge out there at Sickles High School in the Tampa area. I'll definitely be there again this year.
thank you, Matt. I thank you for your support. The kids really enjoyed seeing the King Connecticut there in the Sickle High School gymnasium there. So, and I know you made some friends there. A lovely lady I can't remember her name there, but you befriended her real quick. You seem to have a way with your lady.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was the lovely Melanie out there, one of the wrestling moms.
There,
Yeah, there's
there,
some.
there ain't nothing better than a wrestling mom.
Oh yeah, and she was proud of her son, and you and I were both
Yeah,
giving her son some pointers. She actually had
yeah,
two sons that were wrestling in
yeah.
the Gary Briscoe challenge, and we were able to give her son some pointers. Oh
Well, that
man,
means she'll be back there. That means she'll be back because we have all the returning teams. Plus, we increased our bracket this year to 16. So we're growing every year, and then the coaches tell me really the only way we can expand anymore after this year if we go to a 2-day tournament. And 2-day tournaments are so hard and so expensive for the school to put on because of the resources and the volunteers that it takes here. But it just takes a good support system, as you know, Matt, to build a good program. And that
absolutely.
Sickles High School had it for over 20 years. So real proud of the program, real proud of the tournament, of course. I just tell Coach I never wanted to be the Memorial Jerry Briscoe tournament.
Definitely. You know,
Yeah.
Jerry, you've helped build and grow that program at Sickles High School. Tell the people how many years, because it goes back. When did you first start working with that team?
And 1997. Started
Wow.
working with them. Worked with them. Of course, I did the year before year before my sons got there. So then I did the West of First for 4 years, and then there were 3 years difference in between my West and then my son Joe, and so I stayed on those 3 years there and did another 4 years, and then was going on my fifth year, and I started having a series of strokes, and my doctor advised me to that you don't need the added stress, so I had to give that part up. But I'm still involved. I still do fundraiser for them. I still do everything that I can without physically getting out there and having the stress of coaching and watching those kids succeed and fail, of course. But it's a wonderful experience. They've been really good to me. Uh, my wife taught at Sickles. I coach at Sickles, so it's our local school, and I lived here before the school was built, and actually before the school was built, looked at purchasing the property that the school is on, but We never did get close the deal on it there, but it's near and dear to me. It's one of my favorite things that I've through all my years of accomplishments. It's probably my favorite one is to help build that program and what it's become there. So I appreciate Matt you have me on here. Let's go shoot pro wrestling, man. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Shoot Pro Wrestling, everybody. And we want to give a special thanks once again to WWE Hall of Famer and our advisor with Shoot Pro Wrestling, the great Jerry Briscoe. Everybody have a great afternoon.